The Dama occupied the basketball court. The boys wanted to play, but they had to sit aside and watch the Dama dance. The Dama were worried that the young people would turn off the speakers, so they sent someone to watch over them. Except for a few of them who were arguing, everyone else was laughing and thought it was fun. In China, the term Dama has become a disgraceful label. Not long ago, a video showed a group of Dama singing in a carriage on a high-speed train, ignoring the presence of other passengers. The label of Chinese Dama is not only popular in China, but also quite famous internationally. Today, we are going to talk about Chinese Dama. But before we do, we would like to invite you to subscribe. Your support is our greatest motivation and helps us bring you more valuable content. Now, moving on. Incidents of Chinese Dama dancing in squares occurs frequently, causing considerable controversy in various places. They are the stage wherever they go. On November 1st this year, a netizen posted a video showing the Dama performing square dances in the airport. Dama not only dance in domestic airports, but also in Taiwan airports. Look, 26 Chinese Dama are dancing in the waiting room of Terminal 1 of Taiwan Daoyuan Airport. They also kept changing their formations, causing many boarding passengers to look back. This scene made netizens sigh. People on Earth can no longer stop Dama from dancing in the square. It's difficult for ordinary people to stop the Dama's enthusiasm for dancing, and many people are constantly trying to solve this problem. The video showed that the Dama were dancing on the road. She didn't care at all when a car drove in front of her and continued dancing. The driver was a man who was not impatient. He didn't argue with the Dama when he got out of the car. Instead, he danced with her until he persuaded the Dama to leave. The onlookers clapped and applauded, praising the man for his brilliant approach. There was also an old man who had a unique way of confronting Dama, and the two parties eventually reconciled. Netizens joked that this was defeating magic with magic. What method did the man use? In Kunming City, Yunnan Province, a group of square dancing Dama danced in the open space of a commercial street across the street from a residential area. There was a man named Zhang who lived nearby. He couldn't bear the loud music of the square dance anymore, so he negotiated with the Dama, hoping that they could lower their music and not end it too late. But the Dama ignored Zhang's appeal, saying that Zhang was just making trouble and no one else had any objections except him. The square was a public place and he had no right to interfere with their activity, and they also turned up the volume of the loudspeaker a little higher. When Zhang saw this, he didn't find a good way to negotiate. He kept enduring it for a few more days until he couldn't bear it anymore. He negotiated with the Dama again and again, but to no avail. Zhang finally had an idea and found a way. He bought a loudspeaker online and paired it with African music and played it in the square. At first, the Dama were immersed in dance music and no one cared. As soon as the song ended, the square was immediately bombarded by African music, and the Dama couldn't bear it but covered their ears. The Dama all accused Zhang of disturbing the people, but Zhang said, "You claim this as a public area and others have no right to interfere with other people's activity. Why are you only allowed to play music and not me to play?" The Dama were immediately speechless. They really had no right to interfere with Zhang's doing, so they could only accuse Zhang of being immoral. The Dama turned up the dance music louder, trying to confront Zhang in this way. The two sides came and went, and the noise in the square became louder and louder, attracting many people to watch the excitement. Zhang said that if they put this square dance music in the windows of Dama's homes for a few days, they will be unable to understand his mood. After negotiation, both parties took a step back and finally reached an agreement. The person in charge of the dance team said that they will end at around 9:30 and the sound will be lower. Zhang also said that he is not unreasonable. He also agrees with the elderly to dance square to maintain physical and mental health, but it's wrong to disturb people. Zhang also said with a smile that if this happens again in the future, he will buy 2 more speakers and compete with the Dama. The leader of the dance team said that they would keep their promise. Sure enough, when 9:30 came, the Dama all went home, although they were reluctant to leave. Squares and parks in major cities in China have been invaded by Dama one after another, and their dancing has become a scenery in the squares. Dama need more territory. Where do they expand? Recently, some netizens posted a video saying that many Dama were dancing in front of the tombstones in a martyrs cemetery. This group of Dama played songs loudly and danced happily in the square on the steps commemorating the tombstones. There were tombstones in front of them and behind them. The Dama dancing in such a solemn environment seemed a bit dramatic. Relevant government staff in Jiaotong City, Yunnan Province said that the video was indeed shot at the CCP Army's Martyrs Cemetery commemorating the Chinese Civil War. The shooting time has not been found out yet, and the matter is being verified. This Martyrs Cemetery is an open cemetery. Residents sometimes dance in the square inside, but generally they do not dance in front of the tombstones. Managers said they would further strengthen management in the future, put up warning signs, and call the police if necessary. Netizens left messages saying, "Chinese people, please don't disturb the resting places of their ancestors." Some people also joked, "Thank you ladies for your performance. The martyrs will come to express their gratitude in person that night." The behavior of Dama sometimes makes people speechless. When they go overseas, their behavior is even more surprising to foreigners. Recently, Chinese Dama have been snatching Chikawa dolls in Japan, causing chaos. Chikawa is a character in Japanese comics who is very popular due to his cute appearance. The Chikawa Shinjuku store in Tokyo, Japan held an event on October 30th this year, attracting many people to queue up. Not only were there many new products on the shelves that day, but it was also rare for a specialty store to allow customers to shop in the store without taking a reservation coupon. This specialty store has adopted a reservation system since its opening. Each person can only reserve one slot a day, and only those with reservation coupons can enter the store for consumption. On the day of the event, the store stipulated that each person could only purchase one doll. However, after the store opened, Chinese Dama rushed into the store and rushed to buy, disregarding the regulations. Some people even tried to grab the goods outside the store before entering, but the store staff stopped them. On the Chinese social media Xiaohongshu, a Chinese netizen posted a picture of a man leaving a store with 4 large bags of Chikawa dolls. Netizens criticized his scalping behavior for preventing real fans from buying anything. Due to the chaotic scene, the store was so frightened that an hour after it opened, it announced on the internet that it would be closed for the day, and finally called the police to the scene to maintain order. Dama are embarrassed overseas, and they're also embarrassed at home. On November 7th, a woman from Harbin, Heilongjiang Province, made a scene on a flight. She claimed to be a teacher from a university in Harbin and arrogantly claimed that she had a background. The incident occurred at Harbin Taiping Airport. At that time, the passenger plane was preparing to fly to Shangrou City, Jiangxi Province. The planned departure time was 17:20. Before takeoff, the staff reminded the woman to put away the tray table and fasten her seatbelt. The woman did not cooperate, but instead insulted the staff, grabbed her hair and arms, and beat the flight attendant. She said to all the passengers on the plane, "Go and inquire, ask the principal, it's okay, I'm not afraid." Many people were recording her with their mobile phones, but she didn't care at all. In the end, she was asked to leave by the police, but she still stood on the covered bridge and refused to leave. A passenger on the same flight posted, "I'm really speechless. She delayed us for more than an hour." In response, staff from the Harbin Airport Public Security Bureau said there was such a situation, but said they did not have the authority to disclose the handling of the incident. This incident triggered heated discussions among netizens. This kind of person should be exposed. She is so arrogant. It's shameful that a person of this caliber can be a teacher. It's so arrogant. Who gave her the confidence? Dig her backstage. Something even more bizarre happened before a plane took off. A Dama threw a handful of coins into a plane engine, causing the flight to be delayed. What was thrown? RMB. Is it banknotes or coins? Coins. How many were thrown away? 6. The incident occurred on June 27, 2017 on China Southern Airlines flight CZ380. This Dama, whose surname is Chu, is 80 years old. This is her first time flying. Because she was afraid of the risks, she threw a few coins into the plane's engine to pray for blessings before taking off, but she did not expect that it would cause the plane to not take off on time.
但是好在当时的乘务长
Fortunately, the steward at the time heard the sound of something falling to the ground while passengers were boarding the plane. He immediately became alert and began to look for the source of the sound. It wasn't until the flight attendant walked to the door that he discovered that there were several metal pieces on the wings of the plane. The shape looked like coins. When he took a closer look, he found that they were actually coins. So the flight attendant immediately stopped the plane's takeoff and called the airport staff in time to pick up all the coins on the wings of the plane.
全都捡了出来。
Police found 9 coins at the scene, one of which fell inside the engine and the rest on the wing nearby. More than 5 hours later, the passengers reboarded. Netizens were talking a lot. Some people said, "Is that a wishing fountain?" Others said, "Fortunately, it hasn't taken off yet, otherwise the aerial engine would malfunction and the consequences would be disastrous." Calculated based on the A320, the cost of the new Leap 1 engine is about $30 million US. If I take it apart and do some maintenance now, I'll ask this Dama to pay for it so she can remember it for a lifetime. This Dama did something wrong because of ignorance, while some Dama did bad things clearly. On October 15th, after the corn was harvested by large machines in Qishan County, Shanxi Province, some people went to the fields to loot the corn, including some old men and Dama. Based on the online feedback, this phenomenon is quite common. The video showed that farmers harvesting corn had no choice but to drive a pickup truck into the field, set up fireworks on the truck, and fire them at the crowd who were looting corn, and the crowd evacuated to the edge of the field. The person who posted the video called it a helpless move. Many farmers complained that they had worked hard to grow grain, but the corn that fell on the ground during harvest was picked up by others. A video showed that at around 6 a.m. someone was following the harvester to pick up corn. This incident resonated with other farmers. One person left a message. "Our family planted 3 acres of corn and 1/3 of it were cut down. We harvested it with a harvester. We went home to deliver the corn and then came back. People were all over the ground and they robbed all the corn laid down. There was nothing we could do about it." Someone else said, "In our village, someone planted 5 acres of potatoes. Before the owner dug them, many people, some families, dug in their fields. It felt like they were digging their own potatoes." Another message said, "There is this group of people in my hometown. When crops are harvested from other people's contracted land, they go to the fields to rob them. They claim to pick up the leftovers, but they pick up more peanuts and sweet potatoes, much more. The land contractor has no choice but to call the police. The police came to persuade them to stop, but no use." That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please like, subscribe, leave a message, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.